Hello, I'm Rick Stivers, and today's project, well, it was supposed to have been the Zebco 55 today, folks, but Ken walked in the door yesterday, and he brought me this Penn Fierce 4 8,000 live liner reel, and this belongs to a friend of his, and he had taken it to the coast and used it, and the reel got dunked. And I don't know how long it was dunked, but it got dunked. And while it was, after he got done, he brought it back to the room and he sprayed it down good with fresh water twice and then left it sit. And when he came back to it, it wouldn't hardly turn. So it's over here on my bench and we're going to see what we can do with it. Now, I'll be honest with you, I was concerned about the health of this reel. When it got here, I was afraid that salt water was sitting inside it, doing more and more damage as time went on. And guess what? I was correct. It still had salt water inside it, and it still got a little bit of salt water in it, but mostly I've got it all cleaned out. But I didn't clean the reel. So it's back together. We're going to go through the reel. Basically, I just wanted to kind of neutralize the salt water for the time being. And the damage has been done, but I didn't want it to get any worse than it was because I didn't want to have to order any more parts than I have to. I'm hoping that I can get by with very minor changes, but we'll see once everything in here is covered with micro sand, and everything you touch inside it just, it's like, ugh. So we are going to take it apart. We're going to walk our way through it and hopefully get it back together tonight, and I'll get it posted tonight. If not, if I have to order parts, well, so be it. But that's the way it's going to start off. Okay, we're going to start off by taking off the spool. Okay. And basically, we're looking for damage, saltwater intrusion and damage everywhere that we go. So, I might take this apart too. I've never taken one of these apart, but I might take it apart just because the likelihood's very good that it's got micro sand up inside. If it's inside this reel, it's probably into everything. So we will probably end up taking that apart. Okay, we're going to open this up. Yeah, see there's just sand, little bitty tiny grindy sand in everything. So I'm going to go ahead and take this spool apart. It's going to go in the drink. I'm getting an ultrasonic parts cleaner for Christmas, which is still another week away, and or more. And I was kind of hoping that I could wait till then, but I'm afraid that more damage could be done to this reel by waiting, so we're not going to wait any longer. I'm going to go ahead and pull it apart. Yeah, see, this stuff is still wet. That's not, I did spray some WD-40 on it, but that's not WD-40 that we're seeing here. This is water. And this HT100 does not want to budge. I think what's happened, yeah, I think it got wet and then it twisted inside there. So let's see if I can get hold of one below it and see if I can help push it up and out. It does not want to budge. I'm almost certain I'm going to have to change out that, at least that HT100. Yeah, see, the corrosion has gotten into the corners up in here. Wow, that one does not want to budge. Let me try something. See if I can get this to catch on the edge. right there, and see if I can tap it out. Wow. Oh, I did get that one out. Yeah. The corners of that are, it's been soaking in water for a long time, and it's really softened it up. I am going to have to replace the HT100 drags in this. There it comes. There it comes. Maybe if I can get the salt water off of these, I can salvage these, but they look pretty rough. They're just so covered in micro sand. All right, so we're going to spray this down with some WD-40 and hope that it can dissolve that in there. And I'm going to spray this down, and we're going to put that in the sink and scrub it with some hot soapy water and hope all that salt goes away along with these parts. Now these are not corroded. Where'd the other one go? Oh, here it is. Okay, now there is no eared washers in these because the HT100s are the eared pieces. Man, they are just so covered in grit. Can you hear that? Wow. All right. It's hard to believe he just dunked it one time. But that's the claim. All right. Now we're going to take the handle off. Okay. Now the handle, it's not doing too bad. We'll spray it with some WD-40 to let it soak. And we'll hit the knob with a little. All right, we'll let that soak a little bit. I'm not going to scrub that in the sink. I think it's reasonably going to be okay. Let's take this cap off. That's going to go in the sink to be scrubbed. All right, now this is a live liner. You know, I don't even know if the live liner works on this thing. No, it does not. You can't set it. Okay. All right, well, let's go ahead. Take the screw out. On the other side, right here, there's a little micro screw. Let's go ahead and take that one out. Okay, get that out. There we go. Well, that came off pretty easy. Each side pops off then. Okay, those are going to have to be scrubbed. Let's take off the 4 screws holding the side cover on. Now, I've already had these screws out once, remember, just to make sure that the thing isn't full of water, and it was full of water, so that's why I opened it up just to drain the water out of it and spray a little WD-40. The whole thing was white and encrusted inside, so I sprayed it with WD-40, and hopefully that's making it a little bit better. Okay, the screws out. Now, they're supposed to be these little plastic washers. I don't know how well you can see that. I'll lay it here on the black. Okay, there's supposed to be 4 of those in this for the covers. Right now I'm only seeing 3 of them. One of them may be stuck down in the hole. I think it might be in that hole right there. All right, but yeah, this is covered in, okay. Let's see, this is the live liner portion. And this is also the portion that would not budge. Let's see, the other side. This side here goes on to here. Let's see. Okay, now this will move here. Okay, it's gritty, but it's moving. Okay, so this should be okay. If I get all this scrubbed out of this. So this whole thing was encrusted white yesterday. But this, I don't know if you can tell, but if you look, see how this goes from gritty to clear on the side? That's just sand. Okay, so we're gonna put this in some hot soapy water and scrub it, and then we're gonna gently try to blow it out and make sure that all the sand is gone. I really don't want to take this apart all the way if I can help it, but I might have to. We'll see. I'm not real crazy about messing with live liners. All right, let's rotate this around. Man, this is really stiff, but it does move. All right, got it to there. Let's go ahead and take out this screw for the crosswind block. And then there's this keeper, which is kind of a dual C-clip. It goes on there to hold the axle shaft in. Now let's slide the axle shaft out. Again, another part's going to have to go and get scrubbed. We should now be able to take out the main gear. And this is the part that has me concerned. It feels really, really bad and really gross, and it may just be a lot of dirt. I'm hoping that I can scrub all this clean and get this bearing off. Now, this is interesting. Don't remember seeing this before. This is part of the live liner. Okay, that's the part that would not move a while ago, and I just got it freed up moving. See here, it was stuck. You can see the corrosion. Yeah, right there. It was corroded like that. That's why the live liner wouldn't work. Okay, we're going to take this apart. I wonder if there's a specific keyway direction that this has to be in. Okay, it's 3 and 3. Okay, it appears to be the same each way. Yeah, okay, so we'll be able to just pop this E-clip off of here, I hope. And I'll get it off okay. There we go. It's got the E-clip off. Okay, now this piece comes out. Yeah, there's a shim inside there. Yeah, this was corroded up really bad. There is a spring in there. Okay. All right, now I'm gonna have to try to figure out how to get that back in there. It's got to go down into that. That's not that bad. It looks like it'll be all right. Okay, I'll set the spring over there. And yeah, we're gonna have to spray this and try to get all this corrosion off of here. I may have to replace this. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. If he wants it back in like new condition, we're probably, and check this out. How's that for sounding gritty? Okay, so let's take out the crosswind block, and let's pop out this gear. Sorry, bearing. All right, now that bearing, it's a shielded bearing. Not sealed, it's shielded, but it's clear. It's not making any noise, and it's turning freely. It's a little gritty feeling on the outside, but there's nothing inside it. Same thing with this other one. Let's go ahead and wipe it off. Don't lose the shims for that main gear. Okay. Ooh, that one's kind of noisy. It'll work, but it's going to be noisy, I'm afraid. Let's spray it with WD-40. I'm going to go clean this one. See if I can make it spin up and get that sand out of there. All right, I was able to blow that bearing out pretty well. No more grit in it. It took a little bit, but it's done. All right, let's see where else we're going. Now we're going to take out this screw for, hang on. All right, I don't know if you guys can see better now, but I can. Okay. We're going to take out this screw. What do we got here? It says, it's a piece of that last project. There we go. All right, get rid of that. And go over here. We're going to take out the locking screw for the rotor nut. Okay, take the rotor nut off. Take the rotor off. Okay, let's see what we got here. All right, the bail is definitely gritty, so we'll be taking that apart too. So we're going to do that as a separate entity right at the end. I'll set that, and now let's go ahead and get it all done at one time. Let's take out, I'm just about finished off that bottle of WD-40. I do use quite a bit of WD-40. I go through about a can every 2 weeks. But, ooh, yeah, look at the sand. Look at the sand inside that thing. Okay. If you had any doubt as to whether or not I needed to take it apart, I don't think you do now. All right, this spring, I'm going to go ahead and pop this spring up and out of here. I'm just going to put my thumb on top of it, put the screwdriver under it, and kind of lift it. Get it to pop out, and then I can slide it out and off. There we go. It's got that out. We're going to come up and take this screw out for the line roller. Okay. Is there a lock nut, lock washer? There is not. Is there a washer? Yeah, there's a washer on the inside of this. I've got a real bad habit of not seeing that and ending up not having it fall out later. Now, where did that come from? There we go. That's gritty, so we'll be taking that apart to clean it. See if this will come out. Sometimes they will, sometimes they won't. This one does not. So let's take out the screw. Let's get an appropriate size screwdriver. Okay, lift that out. All right, that's ready to go into the wash. This is ready here. Okay, now this piece fell out. It goes up underneath here in the hole that was inside this spring. So when I took the spring loose, it was able to just, and I moved it around, it was able to fall out. Okay. Let's take this last screw out here. That off. There's our Z-bar. The long part of the Z-bar goes at the bottom, short part goes to the top, and that's ready to be scrubbed. All right, now we've got our live liner down here. Let's loosen this up a little bit and see. I believe that this just pops out down here. It did, okay. And once it's popped out, then it can lift out and come apart. I'm going to take that apart as one piece later, just before we put it back in. It's full of water, and we're going to take that completely apart and clean it. So we'll set it over to the side for the moment. That's one I want to do all in one junction. I want to take it apart and put it back together so I don't forget how it goes. All right, now we'll come up here, and let's take, we'll take our anti-reverse arm off. And there's our other anti-reverse arm there. And there is no override on that. But that's our backup anti-reverse. That's not the primary. That's the backup. Okay? The primary is in here, and it's an anti-reverse clutch. All right, before I go any further, let's see if you can see it. Okay, we spread this out, zoom it in. I'm going to zoom it right back out in just a minute. When you rotate this shaft, I don't know if you can see it, but the bearing is rotating on the shaft. The bearing is not turning. The inside of it is supposed to be locked to this shaft by pressure, and that bearing should be turning, and it's not. So that's probably where all of our tightness is coming from. That one, and maybe the one underneath it, maybe the anti-reverse clutch, although it's turning and locking, so I think the anti-reverse clutch is working. Okay, take the bearing retainer off. Now all of this, it just pulled right out. That's good. This should be a bearing with a bearing retainer here, or bearing adapter. And this bearing here, I'm believing, is frozen. And it is. That bearing will not budge. Okay, so that is probably what got the reel in here. And it's probably a good thing that that happened, because had all this water been left inside this reel, I'm afraid that would have ruined it. Oh, we got to zoom back out, folks. Sorry. Did you even see me take this out? Hang on. All right, let's slap this back together real quick, and I'll pull it back out one more time. I said I was going to zoom back in, and I didn't. Okay. All right, this was in here like so, and all we did was we pulled it out. We pulled this bearing with the bearing adapter on it out, and this bearing does not turn. The center of it is frozen. Okay, our anti-reverse clutch is working. It's doing what it's supposed to do. All right. And it does have, it's got grease inside it. I hear people say all the time that you shouldn't grease these, but it's came from the factory with grease in it. It's packed full of grease. And that's probably why this is still good. If it wasn't packed with grease, I think that salt water would have eaten that up. Okay. And then we got this bearing. Let's see if it's any good. Okay. The lower bearing is working fine. Okay. I'll wipe it off, and we will oil it. Okay, no grit. All right, I oiled that one. And now, okay, there's dirt in there, but you know what? Might as well take it apart. Everything else is apart. Well, that, and I'm going to have to, because you know what? That spring isn't working. There's a spring in there. It comes up, hooks under there, goes up, wraps around a couple times, and it's supposed to hold this out like that. And there's so much grit in there that it's not able to flip it back out. So, again, I've got to take this E-clip off. Like so. And then lift this up and off. There's our spring. Let me wipe this out real quick and slap it back on. See if we got a spring problem, or if we just had so much dirt on there that it wasn't able to do what it's supposed to do. Although it does still need to go in and get scrubbed. Yeah, look at the sand on this thing. Okay. Wipe the sand off of the spring. And it's a fine little spring. All right. Let's set this back into place like so. Set this piece back on there, but it's got to be on the other side of this arm. And let's see, lift it up and over to the inside. There we go, like that. Now, see there? That's what it's supposed to do when it's working properly. Okay, and then the E-clip would go back on, but this has still got a lot of sand, so we're not going to put it back yet. So we're going to set this E-clip over here so we see it, don't lose it. And now we're going to set the spring over there too. And we now have this thing ready to go into the bath and get scrubbed. All right, now I don't know anything about this thing. I've never taken one apart, but we're going to do that just to see if we've got anything in here that's going to get damaged if we leave salt water in it. Okay. Now, the thing you got to really be careful of here is if you look real careful, there's a little bitty, I mean little, look at that thing, a little clicker pawl with a teeny little spring. Okay. But, tell you what I'm going to do, since all of this is in good shape in here and dry, I'm going to put this little clicker pawl right back in its little hole. Set it down in there, and this looks like there should be two of those, but I only see one. I don't see another one. There's where the clicker rides. It's right here. See if there's one laying on the spring here. What is this? It doesn't look like anything that came out of here. Looks like leftovers. Okay. I'm gonna wipe this spring down. Dust off this little bit of sand that's in here. And we're going to set this guy back in place with the spring. There's a spring right there. And I'm going to wipe the inside of this with a cotton swab. Wipe off the metal ring. And it's not feeling gritty, so I think we're going to be okay there. Okay, set that back in place. Make sure that that little clicker's in there. Where'd that screw just go? There it is. Under here. Okay. And that one in there. Okay. Okay, that's back together, and that one's going to be all right. All right, everything else got to go get washed. So I've got this tub. I'm going to go wash everything in this, blow it dry. Yeah, see, I've got things like that. Get that Teflon washer off of there. Yeah, see how corroded that is from the salt water. We got to clean that up. Okay. And I will be back with you in just a little while. For you, it'll be a few seconds. For me, it'll probably be an hour or more. And I'll also check my part supply and see if I've got a good bearing to replace this one with.